Hello and welcome back to another episode of Northwest Backyard Barbecue. My name is Tim and today we're going to be making Reubens with our homemade corned beef, which I'm extremely excited about because we put it in the brine 6 days ago and we're finally ready to take it out. I'm going to take it out for the first time on camera here so you can see how it turned out. I've got another video online that shows you how to make the brine and put it in there. But today we get to finally take it out, cook it, and make these awesome Reubens. So first though, we need to make a homemade Thousand Island sauce, because if you have ever had a Reuben before, you know that there's Thousand Island on there. I would rather make my own instead of buying it from the store. I always think homemade's better. So that's what we're gonna do now. And then when we're done making this, we're gonna pull that corned beef out, put it in a pressure cooker, cook it up, slice it, and then make our sandwiches. So without further ado, let's get to making the Thousand Island sauce. So down here, we're gonna have, start with a cup of mayonnaise. This mayonnaise is Best Foods, which is what we get on the West Coast here. I think it's the west of the Mississippi you get Best Foods, and I believe east of the Mississippi it's Hellman's mayonnaise. So that's what we have in here. We're going to start with a cup. Then we're going to have some white sugar. This here is going to be about 4 teaspoons of white sugar. Here we're going to have ketchup. This is going to be about 4 tablespoons of ketchup. Now the ketchup we're using today is going to be something a little bit different. It's something that's local, made local here in Oregon, and I'll show you what it looks like. This is it here. You can see that there. It's called Portland ketchup. Put it down here too so you can see. Portland Ketchup Company, organic ketchup. The nice thing about this, number one, the flavor on this is absolutely fantastic. But secondly, it is organic and there's nothing, there's not a lot of chemicals in here. Now, it's not that I'm a health food nut or anything along those lines, but if I can prevent stacking chemicals on top of chemicals by adding all the different ingredients, and each one of those ingredients has all these chemicals in it, eventually you just start stacking those chemicals. So when I can, I try to use organic if it's convenient and if it tastes good. I mean, I'm not one of these health nuts that is going to just eat something because it's organic and I don't like the flavor of it. It's got to taste good. This ketchup is awesome, regardless if it's organic or not. The flavor of it's amazing. And the only thing that's in this ketchup, you got water, tomato paste, white distilled vinegar, cane sugar, sea salt, onion powder, allspice, cayenne pepper, and ground cloves. So that's it. No other chemicals. It's all natural, and it's made in Oregon, made in Portland, Oregon. So good stuff. That's what we're using today. Then we've got some white vinegar here. This white vinegar is going to be about 2 tablespoons. And we've got some sweet relish. Sweet relish here is going to be 4 teaspoons. And then we also are going to have a little bit of horseradish. I like to put horseradish in mine. And this horseradish is also local. It's Beaver Horseradish. So that's their Beaver brand extra hot horseradish, which is made again real close to me here in Hillsboro, Oregon. And I've got kind of a funny story about this. This used to be in Beaverton, this company, and when I was in high school, I had a job at an electrical supply company, and I had to deliver electrical supplies to different businesses throughout the Portland area. Well, one of those businesses was Beaver Foods, and the maintenance room was behind the where they churned all of the horseradish to prepare it for making the horseradish. So the raw horseradish, they churn in these huge drums, and to get to the maintenance room you had to walk through this area, the little walkway on the side, and the drum was sitting next to you, and it was a massive drum. When you walked into this room, your eyes would just instantly start burning, and by the time you got about halfway down this little narrow walkway with a bunch of stuff in your hand, or else you're using a hand truck, you couldn't see anymore. You're tearing down and that type of thing. People that worked there had goggles on, but of course they didn't leave any goggles at the entrance when you walked in, so I think they kind of like laughing at people that used to walk in there and see them basically crying. So anyway, I hated doing that delivery, but that was actually in Beaverton, when Beaverton Foods was in Beaverton. I think that's how they got the name Beaver Foods, but now they've moved to Hillsboro, Oregon. But again, great horseradish, and we're going to stick it in our Thousand Island sauce today. So then we're going to have a little bit of a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce, and then some sea salt, as well as some fresh ground black pepper. So let's go ahead and start putting this all together. We're going to mix it up, and then after that we're going to let it set in the refrigerator for a few hours. We're going to pull out that corned beef, and while that corned beef is cooking, and then by that time all the flavors will have a chance to meld together, which is always best to do it that way. So let's go ahead and do that. So we got our sugar, we've got our Portland organic totally awesome ketchup. I mean, the flavor of this ketchup is absolutely amazing. It is so much better than Heinz or whatever kind of store-bought ketchup, mass-produced ketchup that you buy. Add our horseradish in there, our white vinegar, and our sweet relish, a few dashes of Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce. Make sure you always shake your bottles before you dump it in there. A lot of times stuff settles at the bottom, so you just definitely want to make sure you shake it. Just a few dashes of that, probably about maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. Fresh ground sea salt and fresh ground black pepper. And by the way, that sea salt is from the Oregon coast as well. Great stuff. I'll put a link to all of this in the description so you know where to get it all and you can order it. Okay, so we're going to mix this up, and then we're going to give it a taste, and then we're going to move on to the next step, which is pulling that corned beef out of the brine and setting it in the pressure cooker and cooking it for about 1.5 hours in the pressure cooker, and then we'll make our sandwiches. Obviously, you don't have to wait that whole time because we're going to cut right to the corned beef being done once I show you taking it out of the brine. So, but you don't have to wait the 1.5 hours while it cooks. All right, there we go. So there's our Thousand Island, and that's what it looks like there. Perfect. I'll let that set up a little bit in the refrigerator. Flavors meld, but let's go ahead and give this a quick taste. That's awesome. That with that horseradish definitely gives it a different flavor. If you don't like horseradish, don't put it in there, but I love horseradish. I like the little bit of heat it gives, but I also like kind of that different funky flavor that it puts in there as well. So this is really good. It's going to be even better when it sets in the refrigerator for a few hours. So I'll be right back with pulling that corned beef out and getting in the pressure cooker. Okay, I'm back with the corned beef, or actually the brisket that we separated the point and the flat. Put the flat in here and put it in a brine, and now it's 6 days later and we're ready to take it out of the brine, see how it turned out. So you're going to see it for the first time just like I am. So here we go. So by the way too, when you make this, if you're doing a brine, since because again on the video I showed you the brine, it takes different times depending on the thickness of the meat and the size of the meat, the weight, all those types of things. So it's always good to put a sticker on there that tells you when to take it out, which is what I did. And I also set an alarm on my phone too, so I didn't forget. But let's go ahead and get this opened up and see what we have. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the locking plate out of the briner bucket, which again, if you don't have a briner bucket, it's something you want to look into getting. Again, I mentioned that in the last video. We'll take out the plate which holds down the whatever it is you've got in there that you're marinating. I'll move this bucket over and we're going to take this out, see how it looks. And it looks exactly how it's supposed to look. There we go. All right, that's it right there. Looks awesome. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it inside. I'm going to rinse it off a little bit, and then I'm going to put it in the pressure cooker, which as you can see back here, We have the pressure cooker here with that we're going to use. That's a digital one. Obviously there's other ones too with the locking lid that you just put on a stove top, but we're going to put this in the pressure cooker. We're going to cover it with water inside the pressure cooker, and then we're also going to add some pickling spice right here to the water, and we're going to set the pressure cooker for about 90 minutes, hour and a half. That should be about perfect for this. Then we're going to slice it up and we're going to make our Reubens. So I'll be right back with you once this is all done, and we'll get those Reubens put together. Okay, so I'm back and I have pulled the corned beef out of the pressure cooker. I've let it cool for a little bit. It's ready to slice and start to put these sandwiches together. But once you go ahead and take a look at it, it turned out fantastic. I had a little bit of taste of it and it is absolutely wonderful. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and turn it. I'm going to cut it against the grain so that we can make our sandwiches. So I will be right back with you, and we'll get those sandwiches built, get them on the Blackstone. I got the Blackstone heating up, and we're going to make some fantastic, awesome Reuben sandwiches. Be right back with you. Okay, we're back, and now we are ready to put together a sandwich, and I'm going to get this put together, and then we're going to cook it on the Blackstone grill. So let's go ahead and get started with this sandwich. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take our homemade Thousand Island, and we're going to put that on both pieces of bread. And the bread that we're using is a Russian rye. You can use any kind of bread, but usually it's a rye bread when you're going to have a Reuben sandwich. So we're using a Russian rye today. That's what this bread is here. And then of course we're going to have Swiss cheese. We're going to butter the side, we're going to grill, and then I've got sauerkraut over here, which I'll show you here in just a minute. So first step, butter both sides, insides of your bread. I like to put a pretty good amount on there. That's about like that. And get this other side here too. And then the cheese, one of the tricks here, you want to make sure that you put your cheese down on the bread side. It's going to help create a barrier so that you don't get a soggy sandwich. You're going to put a piece of cheese there. And then what I like to do is make sure there's a cheese in every bite. Put that in about half there. Put another slice. Well, actually what we'll do is we'll put the, I like to put the meat on once again. Again, it helps create that barrier. This meat is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And we're going to cover that cheese completely. Sorry about that noise if you can hear in the background. It sounds like my neighbor's child may be getting in trouble. But again, we're just in my backyard, so we're not in the studio. So you're gonna hear that kind of stuff. As long as you don't mind, I don't mind. Okay, we're gonna get done with that part there. Now, what I wanna do is I wanna move this out of the way. And we'll actually move that butter over. So what we're going to be using is sauerkraut. Now, I didn't make my own sauerkraut this time. I'll put a recipe on a little bit later on how to make sauerkraut. But for this sandwich, what I did is I went to a German butcher that I go to get sausages and that type of thing. And they actually import sauerkraut from Germany. So this sauerkraut here is Mildessa mild wine sauerkraut. It does say on here Germany's #1 sauerkraut. I don't know if it really is or not, but I do know that it's very authentic for something that comes out of a can. It's a lot better than that stuff you buy in the big box grocery stores. So it's got great flavor, and this is what we're going to put on our sandwiches today. Now the key here with sauerkraut when you're making these sandwiches is you do have to drain it. So you put it in a strainer and drain it. And that way it'll help prevent your sandwich from getting soggy. As what we want is that crunch on the outside and then everything melted and melded together on the inside. So to do that, you do have to drain that sauerkraut first. So we're going to stick some of this sauerkraut on here, spread it out kind of evenly, and You know, homemade sauerkraut really isn't that difficult to make. It just takes time, and but it is definitely worth the effort if you have the time and you have somewhere to kind of keep it over time. Okay, and that's probably about enough right there. Then what I like to do is put another piece of cheese on top here like so, and again trying to create that barrier. Actually, you know what we're going to do this time? Even a bigger barrier, a little bigger of a sandwich. We're going to put another layer of corned beef. That way you only have to have one, you don't have to have two. Get more corned beef, less bread, much better. All right, perfect. Now we'll put this on there. So now you got kind of a double barrier between that sauerkraut and cheese. Just like that. We're going to put our top on there. We're going to butter this side of the bread with some room temperature butter. Almost room temperature. Took it out a little earlier today. It's not quite room temperature, but I think we'll be able to get it spread on there. And then when you have it on the grill, what you're going to do is butter the other side when this side's down. That way you don't get butter all over your hands trying to hold a sandwich with two sides buttered. Perfect. Okay, so this is ready to go on the Blackstone. I'm going to go ahead and move everything over to there so we can so you can see us cooking on the Blackstone. I'll be right back with you in just a second. Okay, here we are back at the Blackstone. We're ready to put the sandwich on there, get it all grilled up, and get ready to do a taste test. So here we go. And I've got this on a little less than high. And if you don't have a Blackstone, this is something you should certainly check into. These Blackstones are absolutely amazing. All right, there we go. Start the grill there. Sorry, had to get a towel. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that going on that side. Gonna butter up. I'm going to go ahead and butter up the other side here. And so when we flip it, get a nice brown toasted bread on both sides. There we go. That should be enough butter there. And perfect. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this cooking, and once I do a flip, I'll be right back with you to check out how it's cooking up. Okay, I think we're ready to go ahead and give it a flip. Oh yeah, that is looking good. I'm going to go ahead and put a basting lid on there. Gonna help it help melt that cheese a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook this. I had it on that other side for probably about 2 minutes or so, 2.5 minutes. This side will probably be a little bit quicker because I'm sure the Blackstone's a little hotter than it was when we got started. And as soon as this is done, I'll give you one more look at it. That's what it looks like. As soon as this is done, I'll be right back with you. We're gonna do a taste test and wrap this thing up. Okay, so we're back. I've pulled it off of the Blackstone griddle. Now I'm ready to cut into it and give it a taste. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, see how it turned out. Turned out perfect. Look at that crunch on there, just what we want. Let's cut this in half. Oh, I cannot wait to try this. Look at the inside there. Oh my goodness. You got that homemade Thousand Island, the Swiss cheese. You got that corned beef right there, the German sauerkraut. All right, let's go ahead and give it a try. Looks amazing. Here we go. Whoa. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I love Reubens. I tell you what, it was worth the wait. The 6 days waiting for that corned beef to be done in that brine, making that homemade Thousand Island sauce, that German sauerkraut, that little hint of horseradish that's in that Thousand Island sauce. It's unbelievable. I mean, once you have this, once you make this, you'll never want another Reuben again, other than the one that you can make with this recipe. Check out the brining recipe on how to make that corned beef. Give that a shot. Make your own Thousand Island. Get good sauerkraut or make your own. An amazing sandwich. So that's a wrap. We're done. I'm gonna finish this sandwich. It's amazing. Thank you for joining us again on Northwest Backyard Barbecue. And I look forward to seeing you next time on our next episode. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the bell so you get notified on all of our new recipes. And I'll see you next time on Northwest Backyard Barbecue. Thank you.